Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
Tonight, a school bus driver in Washington is charged with putting young lives at risk, ranting at the students and driving recklessly. All of it seen on video. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 11. I am Alexis Thrower. She faces charges of driving under the influence. NBC's Sam Brock has more.
No! A chaotic bus ride home that could have easily turned catastrophic. Earlier this month in a Washington state suburb, the ride so terrifying for one 10-year-old student.
I'm totally crazy. I am so fun crazy because I love life.
He called 911.
Her breath sort of smells like alcohol.
48-year-old Catherine Macaron eventually pulled over after driving as many as 90 kids that day. In between,
My marriage sucks, and my husband is a son of a gun.
she rambled on to no one inside an empty bus. According to a police report, Macaron blew a blood alcohol level more than double the legal limit for bus drivers and was charged with reckless endangerment and DUI, pleading not guilty to all charges.
No.
An apparent abandonment of critical trust.
That was Sam Brock reporting. Macaron did pass a background check and worked in the school district for years. They accepted her resignation days ago, and she'll be in court in mid-October. International opera star Jessie Norman passed away today at the age of 74. She passed at around 8 a.m. this morning due to septic shock and multi-organ failure. Former President Barack Obama presented Norman with the National Medal of Arts in 2009. She was also nominated for 15 Grammy Awards during her opera singing career, winning 4 altogether. The Jessie Norman School of the Arts was opened in 2003 to provide free education to fine arts to disadvantaged students. Her hometown of Augusta, Georgia, opened the Jessie Norman Amphitheater in 1990 in honor of the singing legend. A street in Augusta will be named Jessie Norman Boulevard on October 11th this year. State officials are looking at a possible temporary ban on vaping products amid recent illnesses and vaping-related deaths. Governor Brown asked health officials last week to come up with ways to control the ongoing crisis. Oregon Health Authority says the proposed ban would last 6 months. It would prevent stores from selling nicotine, tobacco, and cannabis products used for vaping. OHA says this could help prevent further fatalities while giving officials time to come up with broader solutions. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16's meteorologist Travis Knutson joins us now.
Some cold air on the way for Western Oregon as we head into the overnight hours. Low temperatures dropping into the 30s for many spots. As a result, the purple or the blue here is a frost advisory in effect till 8 a.m. down across Douglas County until 9 a.m. The big reason why things are cooling off is the satellite and radar has showed our clouds have cleared on out. Without the clouds, which work a bit like a blanket at night, helping to keep things warm, all of our heat just radiates away into space. So temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s tonight. Tomorrow, we don't warm up too much more than where we were at today, seeing some 60s for many spots, 65 degrees in Sutherland, Cottage Grove right at 63 on the coast, mid 60s as well. And while things are dry for now, we do have some rain on the way. I'll tell you when it gets here, coming up in just a couple minutes.
Thank you so much, Travis. An odd voicemail leaves one woman frustrated after the person on the other line claims he's a lieutenant with Eugene Police. That person still remains unknown, but Eugene Police do say he's a criminal and is not a part of their force. The call was made yesterday, and almost immediately, Gloria Edwards says she knew it was a fake. NBC 16's Stephanie Rothman has more.
My name is Lieutenant Ron Tinson with the Eugene Police Department.
Gloria Edwards got a call Sunday that left her a bit suspicious.
I'm livid. I don't like stupid people, and I don't like people that take advantage of others.
On her phone was a voicemail from a man claiming to be a lieutenant with Eugene Police. EPD confirms he is not.
And I just called it again this morning. The thing's still live and active, and he's still pretending he's a cop.
I'm away from my phone right now, but at least his name, his number with the brief detailed message. I will return your call. My risk of being. Thank you, and have a great day.
It's bad audio. It just seems like it's staged. It just didn't feel real.
We tell people don't rely heavily on your caller ID because it's not always accurate, and these scammers use spoofing devices and can change what you see in your display.
Edwards report says usually when people get these calls, the voice on the other line sounds robotic, but this time it was different.
They're automated, so you're answering your phone, there's a hesitation, and then there's a pre-recorded message that comes across there. And this wasn't. This was somebody actually leaving a voicemail.
She says she got previous calls from another number, but with the same voice, asking her for legal documents. After not responding, now this call has her thinking the scammer is taking his scheme to the next level.
If someone has a warrant or things like that, they're going to be aware, and they would be working through the court system, so it wouldn't be just an officer that is going to be calling them and saying, hey, you need to pay.
A word to the wise next time you get a call that just doesn't seem right. I'm Stephanie Rothman reporting.
Now, she posted the video and the audio on Facebook, and at least 5 people came out with the same story. A Eugene woman says she lost her independence after her wheelchair was taken. Cheryl Hughes has limited mobility due to a disability. She uses a motor-powered wheelchair to go on errands. Hughes says last Thursday she was on her way home when her chair ran out of battery and the wheels locked up. She says a friend came and got her, but she had to leave the chair on the corner of Terry and Royal. The maintenance person at her mobile home park went to retrieve the chair about 90 minutes later, but it was gone.
I'm pretty stuck at home, and I don't like that very well. I need my mobility back. I need my wheelchair back. It's very low of somebody to steal somebody's wheelchair.
Hughes filed a report with the Eugene Police Department. They ask anyone with information on the location of the wheelchair to contact them. A robbery suspect still on the loose tonight after police say he held up a Taco Bell in Eugene. Eugene police say it happened just after 1 this morning at the Taco Bell on Chad Drive. They say an unknown suspect walked up to the drive-thru window, showed a gun, then robbed the restaurant of cash before running off. Officers and canines searched for the suspect but haven't located him. Police described the suspect as a Hispanic male in his late 20s to mid-30s, 5 foot 6 inches tall with an average build, short black hair, and a scruffy black goatee. He was last seen wearing a black zip-up hoodie. If you have any information, call police. Coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, strike averted as a local union reaches an agreement with grocery employers. And later in the show, the Student Success Act is now in effect in Oregon, what that means for students and wealthy businesses.
Get ready, y'all.
Watching NBC 16 News at 11.
A local union has reached a tentative agreement with grocery employers this weekend, averting a strike. The United Food and Commercial Workers has been in contract negotiations with Fred Meyer since summer of 2018. The UFCW represents nearly 25,000 workers in Oregon and Southwest Washington and is the largest private sector labor union in the state. Last Saturday, the UFCW says their concerns have been met, but details of the contract are yet to be released until union members review and vote Friday on whether to approve the agreement.
The bargaining team worked Friday and Saturday for like 26 hours straight to come up with this with the employers and the federal mediator.
The details of the agreement should be released sometime next week if approved by members. White says ULPs or unfair labor practice were filed against the employer but will be dropped if the agreement is ratified. The union is asking supporters to return shopping at Fred Meyer stores. There is late word tonight that the House impeachment inquiry is now focusing on President Trump's personal point man, Rudy Giuliani, and his possible dubious dealings with Ukraine on behalf of the president. His lawyer and chief defender hit with multiple subpoenas today, demanding records of his contracts with Ukrainian officials, while the president himself today seemed focused on learning the identity of the whistleblower in the exploding controversy. NBC's Hallie Jackson begins our coverage.
The president's attorney now facing a legal battle of his own tonight as 3 House committees subpoena Rudy Giuliani, looking for documents about his interactions with Ukraine, though not his testimony yet.
Will you testify?
I can't answer that question right now.
It's the latest move by Democrats ramping up their impeachment push as President Trump ramps up his own attack on the whistleblower.
Mr. President, do you now know who the whistleblower is, sir?
Well, we're trying to find out about a whistleblower. When you have a whistleblower that
reports things that were incorrect. As you know, and you probably now have figured it out, the statement I made to the president of Ukraine, a good man, a nice man, was perfect. It was perfect. When the whistleblower reported it, he made it sound terrible.
Whistleblowers are protected under the law.
Across the board, people have said whistleblowers need to be able to speak truth to power. My feeling is the president's gone completely against the notion of that statute and that critically important program.
NBC News is also learning more about that controversial call in which the president encouraged the Ukrainian leader to search for damaging information about the Bidens, a call his former national security advisor apparently urged him not to make.
These are questions that need to focus our attention.
John Bolton not addressing that today, but multiple current and former administration officials say Bolton was concerned the president wasn't coordinating with advisors on what to say and might air personal grievances. Now, new information on another phone call with a foreign leader. A Justice Department official confirms to NBC News that President Trump recently asked the Prime Minister of Australia for help in a Justice Department effort to look into the origins of the Mueller investigation, a call requested by Attorney General Bill Barr. A White House spokesperson saying late tonight the DOJ simply requested that the president provide introductions to facilitate that ongoing inquiry, and he did so. That's all. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, the White House.
A California man has been arrested and charged with working as a foreign agent for China's intelligence service. NBC's Cynthia McFadden has the details.
Edward Pong is in custody tonight, a naturalized American citizen who worked as a tour guide in San Francisco, despite receiving a degree in mechanical engineering in China.
The Chinese are the #1 intelligence threat to the United States right now.
No question.
Right? No question. The Russians are up there for sure, but the Chinese are #1, and they're also the #1 threat in the political espionage context.
The criminal complaint, unsealed today, reads like a spy thriller, complete with dead drops and code words. Beginning back in March of 2015, when the FBI launched an elaborate sting operation, planting a double agent inside a ring of Chinese intelligence operatives in China. To string the Chinese along, the U.S. double agent filled SD cards with non-harmful secrets carefully curated by the U.S. government. From today's complaint, put the SD card in a book, wrap it in a bag, mark the package to Ed, and leave it at the front desk of a hotel located in Newark, California. Ed Pong came to collect the package in a silver Mercedes. This is Pong hiding $20,000 in exchange for American secrets.
This went on for 3 years. Why so long?
You don't want to just watch one dead drop. You want to get a sense of, is this the way they operate in practice? And in this case, you can, because the information you're giving them is carefully curated.
One more piece in a very complex and dangerous puzzle. Cynthia McFadden, NBC News, New York.
Turning to weather now, NBC 16's meteorologist Travis Knudsen is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Travis.
Temperatures tonight cooling down into the upper 30s. Highs tomorrow, low 60s on the way with plenty of sunshine. And while we're sunny for now, we do have rain on the way. I'll tell you when it gets here coming up next.
This is the Radio Rule Book. Meteorologist Travis Knudsen.
Sunshine all across western Oregon for our afternoon and evening hours. Made for a pretty cool sunset here. This is a time lapse of that sun dropping just below the horizon. We caught a lot of gold in the sky here, as you can see right there. The lack of clouds overhead made for our dramatic sunset this evening, and the fact that there's not many clouds above us tonight does contribute to some cooler overnight lows. Generally what happens, we have a whole bunch of clouds overhead. At nighttime, it traps the heat in at the surface of the earth, but without the clouds, all that heat just radiates away into space. And tonight, we don't have those clouds, so things will cool off. As a result, we'll see a frost advisory that's in effect in blue here, basically until tomorrow morning. For the Willamette Valley, that's 8 o'clock in the morning. Down across the Umpqua Valley in Douglas County, that's until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But it means temperatures will be in the 30s for many spots. And then tomorrow, our Tuesday, we should manage to warm up a couple degrees more than where we were today. But in general, we'll stay below average. Now, here's a look at the satellite and radar loop for much of the evening, where you can see those clouds clearing on out. As we progress through the overnight hours, clouds continue to disappear, and tomorrow will be just sunny skies, blue skies overhead from the start of the day to the end of it. And while we're dealing with the clear skies for the next day or two, there is another storm system here across the Pacific Ocean with some rain riding along with it. So what's to come for our short-term forecast? Dry air, not necessarily warm air, but dry. Then Wednesday evening, Wednesday night into Thursday, the cold front with rain behind it moves on through. Thursday looks pretty wet at this point, but it should start to wrap up by Friday. And I think come the weekend, drier weather does settle back in across the Pacific Northwest. But here's a model forecast overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. We'll stop this right around 8 o'clock where you can see clear skies above us. We start the day off with a lot of sunshine. We'll see that sun all day long. This is 5 o'clock on Tuesday. No clouds overhead. Wednesday is when things start to transition. You can see the clouds moving in early Wednesday. They'll thicken up throughout the day. Rain starts to push in for the late evening on Wednesday. The rain showers here carry over into our Thursday, and Thursday's looking a little wet all around for our area. But here's those temperatures tonight, cooling down for a few spots, right around freezing for a location or two. Highs tomorrow beating out today's temperatures by a couple of degrees, but still far below average for this time of year. Here's that 7-day forecast for the Eugene-Springfield area. Getting into Thursday and Friday, we'll see the rain return, but I think come the weekend, at this point anyway, we should manage to win out some drier days. For the coast, mid-60s tomorrow. Tonight's temperatures on the coast not quite so cold thanks to the Pacific Ocean. The body of the water really helps to regulate temperatures and keep things from cooling down quite so much. So for the next couple of nights, high temperatures will range in the 60s and our overnight lows in the mid to upper 40s. Rain on Thursday, a few drops on Friday. Dry for the weekend. Temperatures to be about average for those coastal areas. Across Douglas County, mid-60s on the way. Overnight temperatures tonight managing to make it into the 30s for a few locations. That's due to the clear skies overhead. But the clear skies tomorrow means a whole lot of sunshine is on the way. Clouds do begin moving back in on Wednesday, meaning we'll start Wednesday off with some sunshine, but end it relatively cloudy. Rain on Thursday, rain on Friday, but wrapping up by Friday afternoon. At this point, drier weather on the way for the weekend. And finally, by Sunday, Monday next week, we may see some temperatures return back to what's considered average for early October.
Thank you so much, Travis. Oregon benchmark test scores for school students continue a troubling downward trend. The marks for English and math skills have dropped in most Lane County public school districts, but not all of them. NBC 16's Tom Adams went to see how 2 districts are the exception.
Disappointing and lots of room for improvement.
By how much?
That sums up the recent statewide marks for the Smarter Balance exams by the Oregon Department of Education. The tests are designed to measure whether students have the skills they need to be on track for college and careers. State scores show that only 40% of students grades 3 through 8 have proficiency in math. Just over half the students can read and write proficiently. One local superintendent cites stress factors affecting all schools and all districts.
Things like some super high behavior needs and classroom disruptions that we've seen a huge increase in the last few years.
Senora Estrada.
The Fern Ridge School District was one of only 3 in Lane County to see more students perform at proficiency in math or English or both. Carpenter tells me one reason is they push their high schoolers very hard to graduate on time.
Our high school students outperform significantly the state average.
The bar graphs show both Fern Ridge and McKenzie School District kids had higher marks in English, arts, and math this year compared to last year. McKenzie School Superintendent Lane Tompkins hopes incoming funds from the Student Success Act will keep the positive trends going.
That will be giving resources to districts and communities, counseling or reducing class sizes.
State Schools Chief Colt Gill cautioned, though, against reading too much into the test results, noting that 20% of high school juniors declined to take the English or math test. That, he says, makes the data incomplete. Reporting in Lane County, I'm Tom Adams.
District number 3 to show a local test improvement was in the Marcola district. 5% more students hit the state proficiency mark in English skills. Not so in math, where 8% fewer kids met the state standards. The Student Success Act is now in effect in Oregon. It officially became law yesterday, meaning the state's wealthiest businesses will now face a 0.5% tax for education. The money will go toward expanding nutritional services, reducing class sizes, increasing instructional time, adding things like more PE, art, and music back into the curriculum, as well as mental health services. Next in sports, Oregon could be getting some key guys back for Saturday's game, and Oregon State is looking at the positives despite last Saturday's loss. What impressed head coach Jonathan Smith.
I paid the price.
You paid too much. EC 16 Sports Desk is brought to you by Three Rivers Casino Resort.
School is officially back in session, which means Autzen Stadium will be at its loudest this coming Saturday when the Ducks host the Golden Bears. California is coming off a loss to Arizona State, a loss that dropped them out of the top 25 rankings and may have cost them their starting quarterback, Chase Garbers. Garbers landed awkwardly on his right throwing shoulder against ASU, so backup Devin Modster stepped in. Oregon will now need to prepare for 2 QBs for Saturday, and according to Mario Cristobal, the Ducks will also need to prepare for a dynamic defense.
They make it difficult on the quarterback with the pictures that they present, and then they have really good personnel. They can play man coverage, they can play press man, catch man. They match coverages really well. There's a good amount, a significant amount of different pressures that also make it difficult for other teams to block them. So it's really impressive. They're hard-nosed, they're tough, they're disciplined. They're also very talented. I think that gets lost a little bit. People just say, well, they're tough, and they're really, really talented, and they're coached really well. They got a great team.
ASU got a piece of it.
Several Ducks also benefited from this past Saturday's bye. Number 3 running back Cyrus Habibi-Likio, who left the Montana game at halftime with back spasms and did not play at Stanford, is back to full participation in practice. And Oregon receivers Micah Pittman and Brendan Schooler are expected to fully participate in practice this week. If all goes according to plan, the duo will debut for the Ducks on Saturday. And despite a loss for OSU, there are still some positive takeaways from the Beavs this Saturday as well. The 31-28 defeat to Stanford had people questioning Oregon State's first half offense and penalties on defense. However, head coach Jonathan Smith found some silver linings.
I thought we looked as good offensively for that last quarter and a half than I've seen us. Moving the ball against a good defense, making some plays. I thought Luton had some unbelievable throws in that second half. AP came up huge for us. O-line blocked that run game really well. Defensively, tackles for loss, sacking quarterback. And so, again, you lose a game, you lose it by 3. It's not all stuff that's awful. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of positives there to build off of, and then we got to continue to clean up things that cost us the game.
Kickoff Saturday at UCLA is set for 6 p.m. That's it for sports. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Maria. Now coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, the Eugene Police Department is taking a stand against breast cancer. Stay tuned to see how the department is showing their support.
We added a $12 pizza to Tuesday and
Marks the first day of October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Eugene Police is showing their support as 10 patrol vehicles now have distinctive pink police lettering on their sides. EPD stands in support of everyone in our community who is fighting this disease, along with their families and friends. The international symbol of breast cancer awareness is a pink ribbon. The color pink also is an expression of moral support and people for people with breast cancer. Thank you so much for watching NBC 16 News at 11. I'm Alexis Thrower, and The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Any ideas? You know, in my opinion, these 2 Dunkin' Bagels